back once again with a live show. Seminoles Sideline 365, you know what it is. On a Monday, the 30th, ACC schedule release day. Thank you and welcome back again, everybody. It's great to see you live for the show. Even if you're watching this not live, it's great to have you back.
Or listening on
the podcast network. Great shout out there. So yeah, it's a big day for Florida State and the football fans in general as the ACC release the official schedules for the new formatting, the 3-3 or 3-5-5, whatever it is, 3-3-5, 3-5-5.
3-5-5
schedule here. So we're going to go through that as that got released at 7 o'clock tonight on Monday the 30th. And we're excited to go through it too, because this is one of the biggest anticipated years of Florida State football in the last decade, I would say, since probably the national championship year. This is the most hype that's gone into a season. And this is one of the milestones. The schedule's out. You know who you're going to be playing. You know what order you'll be playing them. And this is where all the media sites are going to start saying, what's the biggest game on the calendar? Where are the trap games? What should we expect? And this is where people can now start playing their travel too, in terms of, I want to go to this game. So this is where it all begins. You can start circling the games and start game planning and stuff like that. So we're going to go through it tonight, give our thoughts. We're not going to make it super long, but we want to give our instant breaking reaction to this and get your thoughts. So if you're joining us live, put your comments in the comments below. But if you're watching this on demand, we want to know your comments. Do you think this is a weak schedule? Do you think this is a manageable schedule? Where do you think the trap games are in the schedule? Because I do think there could be maybe a couple trip-up games here, but we know Florida State wants to get into the ACC championship game. They can't afford to trip up too many times. And if they do want to go to the college football playoff, which some of these media sites out there think that Florida State has a legit shot to go to the college football playoff, then there is maybe one slip up manageable in this line in the schedule. So we'll discuss that tonight. But old man Bruce, do you have anything else before we jump right into it?
Oh, this is my new friend right here.
Oh God.
The scary Seminole. There he is, man.
Yeah, it'll be real scary.
Look at him. He's crazy.
If we lose to LSU, that's going to look like a lot of the fans. That's going to look like a lot of the fans if we lose to LSU. So
you know what? I got this as a gift many, many years ago. And you know what it's for? Is when you're so mad at what's going on in the game, you throw it at the TV. But it's so nice and soft. It won't break the TV. Hey, Mike. Hey, what's up, Mike?
Good to see you, Mike. Good to see you, Mike. Great to see you, David. What's going on, man? Great to have you guys on board. Good to have you tonight. I need one of those dolls for a lot of these games last season. A lot of these games I was squeezing at. But let's go through it. Let's jump into it.
It's like football's back. Football's back. It's already back. But yeah,
we're not talking about basketball because you could use one of those squeeze dolls for the basketball season.
We're not. Hey, if you've been watching us, you've seen me. I'm kind of taking that point now for basketball. Sea-Dog and myself, we're taking the basketball point, and we're bringing it. We're going to bring it raw. We're going to bring it unfiltered. But tonight, it's about ACC football, and we're gonna go through the schedule.
Okay,
I'm excited.
Let's jump into it.
I'm excited.
So, one thing I want to get everyone's thoughts on, comments, like I said, anyone who's watching live, yours first. What do you think of, before we jump into it, the new formatting? You have your 3 primary opponents every season, and then you rotate the other 10 for the next 4 seasons. So the primary opponents for Florida State, I believe, are Clemson, Syracuse, and what is
Miami.
it? Miami, yeah, correct.
Yeah,
so what do you think of this new formatting? What do you think of Florida State's permanent opponents? Do you think it's good for the ACC? Do you think it's good for Florida State, first of all, especially as the playoff expands? What do you think? Just brief thoughts on that.
Yeah, I first of all, as we all know, the coastal and Atlantic and all those divisions, which we couldn't ever remember of what team was where. I'm glad that's gone. I really am glad that's gone.
I agree.
Now there's one ACC conference, and you'll be ranked from top to bottom depending on your record in ACC play. Okay, ACC play, not overall play. Correct?
Yeah.
There's no divisions. The top 2 teams. I don't know what the tiebreaker is on this. I have to refresh on it. But the top 2 teams in the conference will play for the ACC championship.
It's based on winning percentage.
They will play. The top 2 teams will play for the championship. As you said, there's 3 primary opponents: Clemson, Miami, and Syracuse. The other, you'll play them every year.
Okay, I just said all this. I just want to know your thoughts. I just said all this.
My thoughts are this. Well, first of all, you want to play you're going to play Miami.
Yeah.
That's a state rival. That's for our state championship. That's a no-brainer. Syracuse, we can handle them as an elite program, and that's where we're going. Syracuse is not a problem. Clemson, you must play them. You must play them. If you're going to be elite, you must play them year in and year out. And I don't have a problem with these top 3. We're not looking for weak sisters here. We're looking to play the best.
Yeah, I think brand-wise, having Miami and Clemson on as your primary ones is smart. I think it's not a bad idea. Like I said, these are teams that it's better for you. Like some say it's good for Miami and Clemson to be down. It makes it easier, but it's honestly better for the ACC, the conference, and for your brands if you're playing against the best teams. And it's going to be better for you, easier for you to get to the college football playoff if you have quality opponents on your schedule. If Clemson is not a top 25 team, a top 10 team, and Miami is always in a dumpster, it's going to be harder to get quality wins on your schedule. I give it to credit to Michael Alford and Norvell for scheduling teams like Clemson or teams like LSU. You have Georgia and Alabama on the future out of conference schedules. But the ACC as a conference is not super strong right now. So you need other opponents on this schedule to be strong in order to get into this expanded playoff. And it's beneficial that it is expanding to 8 teams in the future here. But with it being
12 teams.
But even with it being limited, you still need to get quality wins on your roster. So it is good having marquee names like Miami, Clemson, but Syracuse, you could deal with that. It'd be better maybe if that was a more southern school, so you didn't have to travel all the way up there. But I think more or less you have 2 good solid names on there, and you keep those rivalries intact. So those are good games to travel to. Those are good games to have at home for selling tickets.
The other thing about playing Syracuse, you extend your boundaries as a brand all the way up the coast, the Atlantic coast. And for recruiting purposes,
but you're not getting a bunch of recruits in New York.
I'm just saying that you expand that. So
we better have Georgia Tech.
Recruits,
You'd rather have Georgia Tech on the schedule then.
No,
because you're getting a lot more recruits out of Georgia than you are in New York.
I know, but I'm just trying to look for something good out of it.
I don't think there is anything good out of it.
Well, I think everybody got kind of I don't want to say a weak sister, on the schedule, Well, would you rather play Clemson, Miami, and North Carolina
Georgia Tech? I'm saying Georgia Tech.
Okay. Well,
but B. Riley, I agree with you. Going divisionless is a huge benefit to Florida State. I totally agree with you there, B. Riley. And playing quality teams is way better way to gauge FSU talent and where they need to improve. Agreed, David. Losses are going to come, but playing quality talent lets you know where the holes are.
Hey, this program, Florida State program, historically was built on playing the best people you could find.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's how Bobby Bowden built this program. He went on the road, played the big name teams because he needed paychecks to build this program. Yeah. And he went out and started beating people. All of a sudden, Florida State's a brand name.
All right, let's dive into the roster.
And the last point, as we've been saying, when this playoff expands in 2024, not this season, but when they expand, you're going to have a good schedule like they do in basketball to get into March Madness. They're going to be looking at who you played and so on. And it's going to be very important that you have quality opponents.
Absolutely. So this is a graphic that FSU football put out just within the next, I think, last 15 minutes or so, which is great. Once again, kudos to the social media team as they're pumping out great material day in, day out. But it clearly lays out the schedule. So like I said, book your travel now if you see anything that's great that you like on the schedule.
The only problem is you don't know the TV times. Those never come until a week before or a few days.
I'm saying if you're going to travel to someplace, but here we go. So you start out as we knew you were going to start out with LSU on Labor Day weekend on that Sunday night, or most likely Sunday night. We don't know that for sure yet. But you start with LSU. I mean, this is going to be a tough game regardless. You knew what that was going to be. That's a marquee matchup. Most likely going to be a top 10 matchup based on how they finished out the year, based on how Florida State finished out the year. Whether they have 10 wins last year, where they have, they had 10 wins last year, I believe. So once again, you have, just look at the first 4 games here: LSU, Southern Miss, Boston College, Clemson. The thing that stands out here, and I think everyone is commenting on this, is that you have your 2 toughest games probably in the first 4 weeks of the year in September. You're going to know the trajectory of Florida State's season in September. You're going to know if they are an ACC championship caliber team or a college football caliber team, a playoff caliber team in the first 4 weeks. Because if they drop LSU and if they drop Clemson, I mean, the season's, I don't want to say it's over, but you're not playing for a championship most likely. You're definitely not playing for a playoff if you drop LSU and you drop Clemson. But you could potentially, you could drop LSU and win Clemson, still, obviously play for an ACC championship. But you're going to know where this team is very, very quickly. Because typically you don't play Clemson. I don't think you usually play Clemson until October, even if early November. This is the earliest I can remember playing Clemson in ages. So I think the format of this, playing them so early, is interesting. And like I said, the rest of the schedule is pretty easy when you look at it. The rest of the teams on your schedule, we knew we were going to have a softer schedule this year. But you had your 2 top-ranked opponents in the first month of the year. It's going to be interesting. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'm wondering if we won every game, if we went undefeated, okay? If we went undefeated, would we make the playoffs, the 14 playoffs? Is this schedule strong enough to make the 14 playoffs? I don't think it is. I think you would have to totally dominate every opponent on the schedule, maybe beat LSU close, maybe beat Clemson twice close in the ACC championship and regular schedule to even approach a playoff committee selection.
Yeah.
I think that's number one. That's my first thought.
Yeah.
The LSU game will be very interesting. Both teams open. I think that's an opener for LSU too. They don't play anybody before that.
And I don't have a week 0 game.
I don't think so. So it'll be a very big game, sold out stadium in Orlando, where the Noles just played. So the Noles have good, familiarity down there, which is great. It's not an ACC championship run game. It's a national run game, which is, the odds are against us anyways. But we want to show up and show out in that game. That's how important it is, based on how this team, the hype behind this team, the hype behind all the returning starters, and Jordan Travis as a potential Heisman. So there's a lot on the line. You can't stumble around in this game and get blown up in this game. That would be bad. You could lose close, you could win close, and I think that would be good either way. To win is better, obviously. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a winnable game for Florida State. LSU's quarterback, is he coming back?
Daniels came back, correct.
Okay,
and I think that's actually good for Florida State because you know what you have in him. I think the backup or the guy behind him is actually potentially better than him, but he has come back from him.
Well, it's going to be a real test for this defense now that LSU has their second year,
and they're bringing in the number 1 transfer class in the country. LSU.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, and we will find out what we have. We really will find out. You're exactly right in that. So that's my perspective on game 1. That's my perspective.
I think, to your point, If Florida State goes undefeated in the schedule, they're going to the college football playoff. There's no doubt about that. If they run the schedule and they're undefeated,
I
it
don't
doesn't
think
matter.
that's true.
Yes,
I don't.
it's absolutely
I
true.
don't
It's
think that.
100%.
I don't think that's true. You
can't beat two SEC teams and they're not going to give you a spot.
Wait a minute. You could run this schedule, but you said even if they beat everybody, what if they just beat everybody by a touchdown or a field goal?
Margin of victory is not
including North Alabama and Southern Mississippi.
Margin of victory is not a factor in the vote.
Well, I think it can be when you have if you have 2 or 3 other teams that are undefeated, which is not really practical thinking that I don't think that you can just win close every game and be in. I don't think so. I'm telling you what my thoughts are on this. Okay. But if you can dominate everybody on your schedule, win close over LSU, win close over Clemson, then you're in.
I don't.
Okay.
But you're making a statement like all these bigger teams don't play Southern Misses. I mean, Alabama schedules Chattanooga and Middle Tennessee, and all these schools.
No, I understand. I understand that. I understand that. I think the other thing is that we will have to depend on all these other teams having good seasons, having bowl 6 wins or more to really help us in that regard.
No, we'll disagree on that. B. Riley says not a bad schedule. Nice to play Clemson early. I prefer to swap Virginia Tech and Pitt, and a bye week is a week or two early for a team postseason aspirations, but it could be way worse. I would agree with that. I do think that, like you said, the bye is very, very early. You'd rather that at the tail end of the season so you can get some guys back up to health. But yeah, it'll be interesting. David's reduced his season tickets, spend time with your son, enjoyed that. I think next season will be hopefully a season to remember, but we'll find out. B. Riley does disagree with your take that an undefeated ACC champs with wins over 2 SEC teams, even if one is down, is absolutely a college football selection. And I agree with him there. I think that if you run this schedule with 2 SEC teams, LSU and Florida on this, along with most likely a top 25 Clemson, and probably a top 25 Wake Forest or Pitt, probably maybe a Pittsburgh on there, you're going to get in. Look at these teams that are top.
There's a lot of good teams out there with only 4 spots to get in. You could be easily number 5, number 6.
Clemson's gone in every year that they were undefeated. Clemson's gone in every single year that they were undefeated. Every single year that they
didn't get in last year.
They weren't undefeated.
No, I know.
Like you're not making a good point. Daniels won't be the star. B. Riley says no style points necessary with this schedule and undefeated season. Old Man's just wrong. Well, I agree with you there. So next point. So LSU, you get Southern Miss. Southern Miss is a mid-level team. They were 7-6 last season.
They had a bowl.
Yeah, 7-6 in the Sun Belt. Once again, it's not going to be a cakewalk, but this is a team that if you're playing for an ACC championship, you should be able to roll over them. Boston College loses their quarterback. He transferred out. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I believe he transfers out. That's another team that you should be able to beat on the road. Once again, those Chestnut Hills games are always pretty close, but that's a game you got to take care of business.
Listen how you're talking.
I'm just saying, you're taking care of business.
Go up there. We should be able to take care of it.
I'm saying.
Are you kidding me? If we're talking that way about Boston College,
I'm just saying you're taking care of business. I'm just saying this. You got to take care of business.
Well, and you know what?
The games. Then let's only talk about the games. LSU, Clemson are the only games that should be of concern. Then
listen. The good thing about the Boston College game is it's not up there in November when it's snowing and cold as hell. It'll be perfect weather up there. Perfect football fall weather in Chestnut Hill. That game is a win. Period.
Let's just face it.
We're not here to predict the wins and losses.
No, Florida State's schedule is very soft.
It's soft.
I'm going to say
it's a soft schedule. That's my whole point here tonight.
Wake Forest loses their quarterback. Pitt brings in another transfer. Miami is in shambles. Florida is basically in shambles. Their quarterback,
there you go. Now you're rolling.
Syracuse. We don't know what's going on. Virginia Tech is in shambles.
Duke is Duke.
Duke was very good good.
Now, that could
year,
be a trap game, as
Duke
we were
was-
talking about.
Duke
But
was good last year, so I don't know why you're
listen,
saying
here's
Duke.
how this schedule is going to come down. This is what's important about this schedule. We'll go through it here. Is LSU, Clemson again, Florida and Miami. Florida and Miami are always state rivals. Those are tough games. Those are always tough games. Those are the games that matter. Those are the games that matter. And then, because if we're talking, this Florida State team is very hyped up right now, and rightfully so, because of all their returning starters. Rightfully so. They're going to have to beat Clemson twice, both on the road, at Clemson and in Charlotte. Okay. That's what it's going to come down to. Who are the other threats to Florida State in the ACC realistically?
Well, I would say B. Riley. I'm not sure about Pitt, but Phil Jerkovic from Boston College goes there. We'll see. I'm not sure if he's just done or if he's just with a better offensive line in Pitt.
Shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a threat.
Pitt was 9-4. Duke was 9-4. I think Miami is they're gonna show something. They gotta show some sign of life next year.
It's a state game.
But you're talking about who's gonna compete in the ACC as a whole, and I think I think B. Riley has the 5 teams right there that are most likely to compete in the ACC.
Well, LSU's not.
UNC, but UNC's on our schedule. But they would be someone who we may face in the championship game if Clemson doesn't qualify.
Drake May is back.
Drake May is no offense to Jordan Travis, but Drake May is the best quarterback probably in ACC.
He's pretty good.
As a pure passer.
Oh, you're going to get some boo notes on that one. You're going to get some hate mail on that one, brother.
I don't
He's
care.
A good quarterback.
I don't have to kiss anyone's ass in Florida State media. So,
but
I just look at the numbers. You just, if you want to compare numbers,
I don't think Drake May's much of a runner, is he?
But I'm talking about a pure passer. That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
Just look at pure passing.
But Jordan Travis is a
Drake May would destroy
runner.
our defensive backs. He would destroy our defensive backs.
We're hoping,
that's what scares me. That's what scares me.
No, we're hoping for this team to do well this year. They have to put together a defense. The offense is going to score points.
Absolutely.
We don't want to get into these running gun battles like North Carolina had to. You're always outscoring people.
No, and that's why I believe our offense will put up points. That's what Mike Norvell offenses do, and that's what they did last year.
Well, if Jordan Travis is under center, they will. Exactly. If he's not under center, then this whole scenario changes.
Well, we don't want to go. Let's not talk about that.
No, that's not tonight.
I think to your point, we're most likely going to have to beat. Well, we have to beat Clemson once. We're at minimum. But the people behind that, our toughest games ranked top to bottom, I believe, are LSU 1, Clemson 2, Duke 3, Pitt 4, Miami 5. Those would be Florida 5, Miami 6. Those would be my top 6 games ranked from toughest to easiest, or toughest to going downwards. There could be some other games there, with the trap game being maybe Wake Forest. I don't know what their quarterback situation is with Hartman going out. But
it's a lot better for us with Hartman not being there. We don't care who the quarterback is.
But LSU, once again, opening day, LSU is going to be your toughest game. If you win that game, this whole season is open for you.
But it doesn't impact the ACC championship.
I don't care. I don't care. But LSU is going to be the most talented team you face this season, in my eyes. If you can beat LSU and Brian Kelly, you can beat anyone else on your schedule. That is my mindset. You go in there opening day and beat the most talented team that you'll face all season, then you can beat anyone on this schedule. That's how I look at it.
Okay, when we talk about trap games, you have the possibility of a trap game in the first 4 games, because if you roll over LSU, the next trap game, the first trap game could be Southern Miss when they come in. Okay, I'm just saying they're good enough that if you're down emotionally, down motivationally, then you could have a problem.
I don't think this team does trap games. I don't think this team.
I don't think so. I don't think Norvell allows them to do trap games because he's focused like they were this past season, one game at a time. Win or lose, it's one game at a time, and you move on each week, businesslike. If he does that, there are no trap games. You're prepared mentally, physically to go out and win these games. This schedule is very winnable. The LSU game is for national attention. It's not for ACC. The biggest games for ACC is Clemson, and I always say the state rival, Miami. I'm not fearful of anyone else on this roster. I mean, should clearly beat Southern Miss, clearly beat Boston College, clearly beat Virginia Tech, clearly beat Syracuse, clearly beat Duke, maybe in a scramble there. Wake Forest, very winnable. Pitt, we should be able to beat Pitt.
It'll be
okay. North Alabama, not a problem. But when you play state rivals, Miami, okay, luckily we get Miami at home, right? Yeah, we get Miami at Florida State. So that's a break for us there. And then the Florida game is non-essential to the ACC. I'm focused on the ACC championship. That's my focus. I don't think the national thing is reality. I think we're overreaching there, and I think that's a mistake to overreach. If we win the ACC championship, then we have a shot.
Well, I agree with you.
So my focus is on the ACC.
Exactly, and I totally agree. This team's focus and the fans' focus should just be win the ACC championship. Don't worry about the playoffs. Don't worry about anything else. If this team wins an ACC championship, that's another step forward. That's another step.
And it's a shame. It's a shame we don't have the expanded playoffs this year, because then we're talking a different situation with a 12-team playoff versus 4 teams.
But once again,
it's tough to get into the 4 teams.
But once again, if you have 12 games on this schedule that you are capable of winning. If you win 11 games and get to the ACC title and win 13, you're in position to make the playoff. But even if you don't, that's still a win. If you win 13 games, including that includes the ACC championship, that's a huge win. That will ensure that you close this huge recruiting cycle coming up, 24, massively. That will ensure that you close that recruiting cycle massively, and that sets you up for 2025.
And you get,
and then you already know what you're doing in the portal,
New Year's Day bowl game.
Exactly, the New Year's Day bowl. You already know what you're doing in the portal. That cements your future for the next 2 to 3 years. That will really lock this machine in. I can't. So, like I said, it sounds nice to say we're going to be in the playoff, we're fighting for the playoff, But if you can take care of business and win the ACC, it will cement results for the next 2 or 3 years, especially on the high school recruiting trail. And that's what really matters. We need to lock that down. We need to start locking down the state of Florida. And I think doing that, just getting to the title, the ACC title, and winning that, because I think the window's here. I don't want to start speaking about when Jordan Travis leaves, what that looks like. That scares me a little bit.
That's a whole other.
But this is the year that they can lock it down. They can get that title, that momentum back, and shut down what Clemson's.
Well, the other thing is this is what we're talking about with Jordan Travis in the lineup. Okay, we were lucky enough to have Jordan Travis around for the majority of the schedule, the overwhelming majority of the schedule last season. All of our conversation tonight is with Jordan Travis under center for every one of these games. Let's make sure we say that now, okay? Because if he's not under center for 6 of these games, it's a different story. He is the man in the quarterback room. Everybody else in there is unproven, including Tate. Okay, he's unproven as far as like to say. Everybody says, that's not true. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
We can play the hypothetical game with every opponent on our schedule, right? We can say, if they don't have,
that's what goes.
So if Clemson doesn't have their quarterback,
KB, that's how it's done.
Let's not play the hypothetical game.
It's like when we start out in the fall, we start picking winners and losers. That's based on everybody that's in the lineup.
Yeah, exactly.
That's everybody.
So you can go down
we shouldn't do that. Maybe we're not going to do that this year. Maybe we're going to go week by week and pick, because then we know who's in the game. That's what the Vegas odds.
But you don't even know that. You don't even know that, because they could get knocked down in the middle of the game. You don't even. You're basing it on the information you have.
I know
We're
that.
basing
I'm
on
just
information.
making the statement, as we all should know. Jordan Travis is not in the game. The game changes.
Wow, you're.
He's
Thank you for
he's
that immense advice that you just gave the audience
he
there,
is
because
in, he is not replaceable on this roster.
just like Jameis Winston
Yeah.
wasn't, you couldn't replace him.
He's
It's
not
just
replaceable. But if we lose Trey Benson, he's replaceable.
okay.
He's
But you're not
replaceable.
dropping like
If we lose a receiver, he's replaceable. If we lose Fabian Lovett in 2 games, he's replaceable. Jordan Travis is
you're
not
dropping.
replaceable. This
Okay.
schedule is dependent upon how Jordan Travis shows up, shows out, and plays every game.
But you're not like dropping knowledge that people don't know. You're saying
Okay,
the most
well,
important
I don't
position
have
on
any
the
other
field
knowledge
is
to
important.
drop except reality. Okay, and a lot of fans don't like the reality, whether it's on this or on basketball. This is the reality.
Okay, yeah. The reality is the most important position on the field can't get injured.
You know, we can start dropping a bunch of stats and all this stuff, but what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means who's playing on the field.
Yeah.
Look what happened to the San Francisco 49ers with Brock Purdy went down. Then the other quarterback went down. The whole game changed.
Brock wasn't playing great
season.
Before he got injured.
Brock Purdy had a damn good season, okay? And I don't follow the 49ers.
Okay, let's not cut down that trail. All right, so I think that's that's a quick and dirty on it. Like we talked about tonight, we'll do a show that goes deeper into quick and dirty predictions and stuff like that. But like I said, there's 2 big games on the schedules, Clemson and LSU, and you get them both in the month of September. So there's gonna be a lot of coverage, a can't miss game. So don't book your weddings, don't book your travel if you're going to go to the games. It's the only bad thing that we didn't bring up is that most of these games in the first month are on the road, right? You have to go to Orlando. You could say that's a home game, kind of is.
Yeah, that's
but it's not in your
neutral
stadium.
site.
It's neutral site. Then you have to go to Boston College. Then you have to go to Clemson. You only have 1 true home game in your first month, and that's kind of that's not great. It's not great for the fans, and you're always traveling, right? So that I hate to say that could affect play, but you're always on the road. You're not getting home. You're not getting your rest. You're not getting your training at home, stuff like that. You're constantly having to move. And that's all in the first month. Does that affect some things? Hopefully it doesn't. I hope, they're locked in, but that is something that to monitor. Does it affect how they play? Like we said, you don't get that bye week until after the Clemson game, right? And that's why they give you that bye week, because you've been traveling for basically the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, that's a good thing we could talk about for a minute. Whether that bye week is placed well for Florida State or not. I'd rather have the bye week right before the Clemson game. I'd rather have it right before the Clemson game instead of you just got done with this tough road trip with 2 of the top opponents you're going to play. And then you get a bye week, and then you play Virginia Tech, which you're going to beat at home. And then you play Syracuse at home, which you're going to beat. And then Duke comes in. I'd rather have it before the Clemson game.
It's just bizarre that you get 3 home games in a row. It's just weird. And it stinks because you get honestly, if you're an FSU fan, you get terrible home games this season. I mean, you get Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Duke, North Alabama, Southern Miss. You get a terrible.
You get Miami. Schedule. That's the big game.
I mean, you get Miami.
The big game.
But outside of that, you get a terrible.
Yeah, it's not a great ticket.
Terrible home slate.
It's not a great ticket. So
I hope our fans show up. I hope our fans show up this season.
Yeah, I hope people buy season tickets. But if you're not going to buy a season ticket, in reality, you're going to be on StubHub or Ticketmaster. You're going to find some really cheap prices for some of these seats.
13-0 in college football playoff. 12-1 is college football playoff if the only loss is Clemson in September. It might be a college football playoff if the loss is LSU with a good Clemson. We need the help to get to the college football playoff with 2 losses. Even if we were a 2-loss ACC championship.
You're not going to get to the college playoffs with 2 losses. This Florida State team is unlikely to get there with 1 loss.
The schedule's set for us to win the ACC and make the playoffs if we beat LSU. Well, I'm totally in line with you. This is a very, very soft schedule, and based on who we have coming back, the talent both on offense and defense, and who's on our schedule ACC wise, yes, if we can start off with LSU with a win, it sets up very nicely. Even with the road travel and stuff like that, it's super soft. And if we're the team that we think we are, talent-wise and with our offense, and it should be set up for us. So we're going to find out who we are, because if we stumble 2 or 3 times this season, then we still have a long way to go. And it's going to wake a lot of fans up, because a lot of fans think this is the year. Jordan Trav and Heisman.
This is the year. This
ACC championship, stuff like that. It's going to wake a lot of people up, because I'm still on the fence. I still think that we still have a lot of growth to go, especially in some key positions, linebacker, other places. I still think we have some growth to go, and I don't know if we've fully addressed it yet. But I do think that we have a chance here for this to be a special season. So we'll find out. The No Way says Wake and Pitt back-to-back will be tough. I think that could be your trap weeks, right? The No Way. I think there could be a trap week there between those two, because they're not the toughest opponents, but like you said, they're going to make you fight for it a little bit, right? Especially with the kid from BC going to Pitt. And Wake Forest with that offensive system that Clausen does, he always makes it tough for you, right? They always play hard, no matter the talent that they have in there.
There's some fans out there that say Mike Norvell still hasn't won a big game. Okay, if you look wait a minute. If you look at the true opponents, whether it was LSU last year, first game under the new coach, that came down to one play, beating Florida and Miami, which I'm glad we won the state championship, but they were dumpster fires, basically. Florida had a decent team. Miami didn't. Who would you say, which game would be the biggest victory for Mike Norvell? There are people who don't still believe in Norvell.
LSU was his Matt Markey.
Yeah, but that was that again.
It doesn't matter when it happens on the schedule. Listen, it's a game. A game's a game.
What I'm saying is, this is where Coach Norvell can prove to those doubters.
Oh, God.
This season is the season. He's got his seasoned quarterback. He's got everybody coming back. If the defense shows up, if the defense must show up, if they show up and they're substantially improved, especially in the defensive secondary, this could be a very special year.
Yeah.
But we can't have a weak defense and be trying to outgun everybody on points. That catches up to you.
The only credence I'll give to your statement is that Florida State lost their 3 ranked games last year, right? Outside of LSU. They lost to Wake Forest, they lost to NC State, they lost to Clemson.
Yeah.
So, and people are going to give, well, they didn't have Fabian Lovett. But
I'm tired of hearing that they didn't have Fabian Lovett, that he would have changed all those games.
Yeah, but at the same, but remember this: they only put up 21 points, 17 points, 28 points in those games.
Yeah,
Jordan Travis was in those games, right?
Yeah.
The offense was, what happened to the offense in those games? Yeah. So that's the point. Like they lost 3 prime opportunities last season to win those ranked games and to get 11, 12, 13. They had a prime opportunity last year too. Let's not remember that. The schedule wasn't overly competitive either last year. NC State quarterback was out. Wake Forest was good, but they weren't, they didn't finish well last year either. Clemson, they were good, but they weren't that good. This is the same,
this is my point.
That, DJ wasn't good last year either. So we had a chance last year too. We could have looked back at last year's schedule and been like, oh, well, Sam Hartman's back, Leary's back.
That was a tougher schedule last year.
It was a tougher schedule last year, but we still had a lot of chances on that schedule based on a lot of injured QBs out, stuff like that. This schedule, look at it now, we should roll over the schedule. We should roll over the schedule. But LSU is going to be a lot tougher than last year based on the boys they're bringing back and based on the way we finished that game. That game's going to be tough. But we should roll over schedule based on.
And you can't falter at Clemson. You can't falter and let Shipley beat you again. This guy's been there like 10 years or something. I don't know what his eligibility is, but this is my point. This is the banner year. This is the year that will really be the beginning of the Mike Norvell championship elite team era if he can get through this schedule successfully. Yeah. If they falter here, there will be questions about coaching. You know what? There are viewers out there, there are fans out there that are not going to like this type of language because I read it on a tweet one day. Oh, our program is all about positivity tonight. That we're not negative. There's no bigger fans than us. There's no bigger fans than us. Okay, but I'm not. We're not going to sit here and sugarcoat a player or a team or a schedule more than what it is. We've been complimentary of here. We've pointed out where we think there's pitfalls. We think this team should go through this schedule and win. There's a couple of challenges, LSU and Clemson. Now, the state rival games are always questionable to me. I don't dumpster fire or not, and I hope everybody's right on that. But there are a couple of stumbling blocks. But if you lose to LSU, you come back and lose to Clemson, there's going to be some questions. There's going to be a few questions. How can't we beat these guys?
It won't be a question. It'll be a disappointment. The season will be a disappointment.
Oh, it'll be.
You can win out the rest of the year, and it'll be a disappointment because those are the two measuring sticks, honestly, of how far you've come. If you can't beat LSU, if you can't beat Clemson, you have not made the progress that you should have
with this team
because you're not.
Sits on paper.
No offense, Tate or AJ Duffy next year is not going to be at the level that Travis is right now.
No way.
Travis is the most mature quarterback you're going to have for probably the next 2 years.
And guess
because
what?
of just how far he is as a quarterback. Those guys could surpass him in 2-3 years from now. Those guys are not at his level athletically, knowing the playbook, talent-wise. So, and as a team, of what you have right now, if we are not able to beat LSU, to beat Clemson at this point in time, it will be a disappointment because it shows that you are not able to put together a team yet that's able to compete at this time.
And all the viewers can write this down. Next season, after Travis leaves, if he leaves,
he's gone. Yeah,
he's gone. Norvell will go into the portal for a quarterback. I'm telling you that right now. You write it down. It's a perfect situation for an experienced quarterback to come in and take the job. And that's what's going to happen. Norvell is not going to go into the 2024 season with the playoffs expanded with these two young quarterbacks. It's not going to happen.
All right, so the Norway thinks that we'll see a 9-day difference with our secondary. B. Riley says that we'll see our secondary should be much improved than we saw last year.
I hope so.
B. Riley also says, would it still be disappointing if you lose to LSU, but if you lose to LSU and Clemson, but you still win the ACC? I think not. I think, well, if we lose to Clemson, I think that'd be 1-8 the last 9 years.
But if we beat Clemson in the ACC championship, I'm good. I'm good.
So if that's the scenario, if we lose to them in the regular season, but then beat them in the championship game, I'm fine with that.
And take home the trophy. I
think as just a brand image thing of saying we can find a way to beat them in the championship game, then yes, I'm fine with that. But if we overall, like you said, if we win the championship game overall, I'm fine with that. Yeah. I'll just put the caveat. Yeah. If we win the ACC championship, I'd be fine. Even if we lose them in the regular season.
I'm good.
I'll take that. 10 wins minimal. I would agree with that. I think that the goal has to be ACC championship appearance and a win. 10 wins out of 12. I don't know. I see 10 easy wins here. So
this is KB,
10 wins minimal to be satisfactory. Satisfactory is 10 wins in my mind. That's not progress. Progress is ACC appearance and win in my mind is progress.
Listen, when you have the overwhelming majority of the
I wouldn't say no way. I wouldn't say undefeated is a disappointment.
No.
I would say you can lose LSU, but then you can win out your ACC schedule, or you can maybe drop at Clemson, win LSU, still make it to the ACC championship. You can still make the ACC championship by dropping one ACC game, right? But you need to be able to. I think if this team does not win the ACC, it's a disappointment because look at what you've done. You've gone from 3-5 to 5. You've gone from 3 wins to 5 wins to 10 wins. What is progress from there, right?
But
you have probably the best roster. You probably have the best roster in the ACC right now.
Yes.
It probably not maybe. Talent-wise, Clemson may still have more talent-wise.
No.
But you probably have the most mature, most game-experienced roster together. And if you don't compete and get into the ACC championship game and compete for that, that's a disappointment. So getting there and winning that, I think, is a disappointment. So if you don't even get there, then yeah, that's not progress in my mind. You may disagree with that, but that's what I view it as. Yes, I would take that. I would take 11-1. I think that's a minimum. Well, no, I'm sorry. That is my goal right there. No way. It's 11-1 in the ACC championship. Correct.
And who's the loss to? LSU?
It could be LSU or Clemson in regular
season. Yeah, one loss.
Yeah,
one loss. Oh, if you have 11-1 and you win the ACC championship, it's a banner year.
Yeah.
The Mike Norvell era then has really taken off. Okay. Yeah. And there's no doubt we've said this before and we don't need to elaborate. He's really doing well in the portal. He's a great recruiter at this point. He just needs to win some notable games.
Yeah. David, this is going to be a whole nother segment sometime during the year. When Travis leaves and the backups are not ready yet, can Norvell find a Travis Kelce
potentially?
That I believe he can, because I think, like you said, if this team wins 10 or 11 games this year, and this offense is high-powered still, and he has all these offensive weapons, and I think me and the old man are on the same page here, is that he's going to go look to find who's that guy I can. If he doesn't trust that Tate or AJ's ready to fill in, he'll go grab somebody and say, let's go. So, but let's save this. Let's save this for another segment. This is a whole nother show. Let's stay on task here. But
let me just say this.
David, I think he will be.
Let me say this to David. David, let me just say this. Norvell won't have to go looking too much. Those quarterbacks are going to look at the situation. They see Travis is left. They know what's left in the room. They're going to be ringing up Norvell's number to say, hey, you got any room there?
Yeah.
Because it's a perfect scenario for an experienced quarterback to come into a brand name university and do it. Look at Sam Hartman. You have to ask yourself, why did Sam Hartman leave Wake Forest? He's getting all the publicity. He's a winning quarterback, but he wants to go onto a bigger stage with a bigger brand to compete for a championship and project to the next level.
Yeah.
So, there's plenty of good quarterbacks out there that will have experiences like a Sam Hartman or somebody to come into Florida State and take that job.
With the playoffs expanding, there's going to be those quarterbacks who are on these fringe teams that say, is this a team that I can move to for a top 12 spot? Let's go for it.
Exactly.
B. Riley, I think we're in the same mind frame. 11-2 ACC champs with losses to LSU and Clemson.
That's good.
Yes,
yeah.
I totally agree with you there.
And you know what? This is a lot of pressure on this Florida State team. It's a lot of pressure on Coach Norvell and staff this season because the expectations are growing crazy online.
And
because everybody's back.
And as he says, that may not make the playoff, but that's acceptable growth.
No, there's only
4 teams. Yeah, exactly. There's only 4 teams that make it this year, but that is acceptable growth. I'm not asking you to win the national championship this year. I'm asking you to take this overly talented team that just won 10 games and win the ACC championship. Lose a couple of games, get to the ACC championship, win it. That's enough. That is solid progress. And then next year, let's go compete for a 12 spot, one of those 12 spots.
KB, it's these FSU media programs that go with the positivity that they're going to go into the playoffs and Jordan's going to win the Heisman. And this is wrong for these guys to think unrealistically and put that burden onto this team.
That pressure. Yeah. I mean, I feel like
and people may not like me saying that or you saying that, and that's okay. They don't have to watch this program. There's plenty of other programs out there. That's up to them. Yeah. But we're going to tell it the way it is and our belief.
Yeah. The no way, response to that. How do you think this team responds to all the preseason hype? I think a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, like under Willie or the late Jimbo stages, I don't think they respond very well to it. But you've seen the statement that Jordan Travis put out there. He's like, I didn't come here to win the Heisman. I came here to win the championship. And I think there's a very good locker room culture of player. I don't think there's many me players left in this team. I think the players that have been brought in or are left in this locker room are very much about what do we do as a collective unit. And I think that is what Norvell's brought in. I think that is what the floor is on this team, and that is what's above it. So I think they will respond the right way. I don't think honestly, Jordan Travis, he's at this point that I think he just wants to win. Honestly, that's what he cares. Maybe earlier in his career, he was like, no, I that's why I want to run. I want to run for yards. He tried to do too much. And I really do think that this team will respond in the right way. That's why you have 4 starting running backs, right? Because they all want to compete and win. They want to push this team to win. Like it's when you have so many players that could probably be starting at other places, I think it shows a culture where guys want to be on a team that can win and they want to contribute to a winning team. And I think some teams it may affect if you didn't have the right leaders in the locker room, but I think this team actually does. So I would be concerned if it wasn't Mike Norvell and these leaders.
You know what? You gain a lot in the competition. You want competition. You want to play against the best in practice too, because how many guys have gone on to the NFL with good careers? We see the number of Noles going into the Super Bowl this year. In my opinion, they weren't superstars at Florida State. They had the potential, and they continued to develop and grind their way to the top. And they've done that, and they've made it to the NFL. So with increased competition, everybody gets better. And every one of these portal guys have come in and said, I wasn't guaranteed any playing time. I wasn't guaranteed anything. I've come in to compete for these positions. And it's a great attitude. I agree with that. I think Coach Norvell has this team focused, and we're going to find out how good a coach he is through this season, this year, based on this approach of business every week. And let's get better, because he doesn't reveal a lot about what's really going on in his mind. He's not one of those transparent coaches like Deion Sanders out of Colorado. He's just not. So if he loses, he says, we got to get better. We got to go back and clean things up. That's his standard statement. But this year, he is going to be carrying a heavy burden. And this team carries a heavy burden because the fan base is really building it up.
Yeah.
And most of these heavy games are going to be on the road.
Yeah.
As KB said.
Wait a minute. We got Destin Hill coming next year, so we'll go in their feet. I don't know if he's coming, but we'll see. Which is more likely to happen? Destin Hill shows up, or FSU wins the national championship and Jordan wins the Heisman. I would go with the second. I would go FSU wins the national championship and Jordan wins the Heisman. It's more likely than Destin Hill showing up. But if Destin does show up, I will welcome him with open arms, because I have zero expectations that he actually.
I don't even follow that crap.
So we'll see. But it's all good. I think that's going to wrap it up then. I don't have any more to add. Once again, it's exciting to see the dates on the calendar. Finally, it's actually real now. So now all the speculation starts. You'll see all the articles flood all the websites and Twitter and stuff like that. So you'll see all the hype start. Really
all the analysis will come out now.
So book your trips. Book your trips on the road to to Winston-Salem or Pittsburgh or down to South Carolina, wherever you want to go. So
KB, let me say this, and you said it earlier, and I think it's a big deal. Is we're facing a lot of teams that had good quarterbacks that aren't there now. Okay, so that should be a bonus to our defense. Okay, including Clemson. They got a good guy, he's good. He's very good. Don't get me wrong.
I'd rather DJ be there than this.
I don't know. But what I'm saying is we're really facing teams now that are rebuilding that quarterback position like we will be next in 2024.
Yeah.
And that is an advantage for our defense. Yeah. So it is going to be the focus of this season will be on the defense.
I agree. And just like I kind of said last year, and to your point, I think the defense will determine how far this team goes. We know what the offense can do. The offense is fairly unchanged from last season, outside of Trayshawn Ward leaving. This offense will do what it does, but it's up to this defense to come up big if we're gonna win the ACC championship this year. So we'll see what it does. So That's gonna do it for us. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think of the ACC or Florida State's chances, what the record will be. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already as well. We really appreciate y'all coming out.
Hey, and hit our basketball too. We're gonna, I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, nobody cares about basketball." You say that too. What I'm saying is, we should care about basketball. I care about basketball. KB cares about basketball to a point. And hey, you guys are loyal listeners out there. Help us with this, move this basketball thing because, Coach Mike Alford said superior across all sports programs.
Okay, well, that's not superior right now. So
okay, well, that's the point.
Like the video, subscribe if you haven't. Thank you all for your time, and we'll see you very soon. Have a great evening, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.